polls.
Gotcha. David, what about yesterday?
I mean, a great night for Democrats. Much needed morale booster that we needed after those polls came out. The Siena New York Times poll that showed Biden losing in those 5 battleground states. But yeah, abortion is the issue, right? It wins. And I think you're going to see Democrats scramble starting today to try to get abortion on the ballot in as many states as possible, because that's really driving voters out. And I think we see across the few states that we're looking at, if it's Kentucky, Virginia, these are really tea leaves that bode well for Democrats. We see that if the Senate the Virginia Senate goes Democratic, then the president goes Democratic next year. And that's the continuing pattern that we've seen over the past few years. So this bodes extremely well for Democrats, a real morale booster, and gives us excitement heading into 2024.
Right. Yesterday, I was at a diner just outside Washington, D.C. in Manassas. There was a lot of excitement there because they were trying to flip they were trying to hold the House and flip the Senate. Ultimately, the Republicans lost the House and did not pick up the Senate either. But Glenn Youngkin, the governor there, was trying to come up with a moderate winning approach for Republicans that could be a model across the country. And that was, okay, let's make the abortion ban after 15 weeks. That seems reasonable. But ultimately, apparently the people of the Commonwealth didn't think so.
Well, when you're explaining, you're losing, right, in politics. And that's what Youngkin was trying to do. That's what we saw in Ohio as well. They're trying to say, oh, well, 15 weeks, this exception, maybe it's not that. It wasn't clear. Republicans were really on the defense, on their backs, trying to explain what they're trying to do with abortion, and voters just weren't buying it. They didn't trust Republicans, and we see that in these election results.
Joe, real quickly, throw one other thing into this, and that is a couple of days ago, everybody, and Joe, you were talking about it just a little while ago, David, the Siena poll that had, all the Democrats' hair on fire because Joe Biden is so unpopular. And that was the fact that in that poll, RFK Jr. actually beats Donald Trump and Joe Biden with voters under 45. So, Joe, take all that into consideration, and where do we go from here?
Look, I think that you see in those numbers a fervor for a different kind of choice. I think also we see in those numbers in many ways a reminder that Siena College polling does 2 things well: try to suppress Republicans they think can win, or try to scare Democrats out of malaise.
You think they're doing that?
Look, the history is on my side if you look at all the races. But I also think, in general, digging deep here for 2024, Republicans have to find a way to communicate they can be trusted to govern.
All right, David?
I mean, I think with RFK Jr., I think he's a candidate. To know him is to not like him. When voters really get to understand what he's about, you're going to see those votes move away from someone like RFK Jr. And I think that's the issue with Biden, right? These polls are setting Democrats' hair on fire. Democrats need to panic, need to be nervous. This is a morale booster from the election last night. But these polls show that we have to change the way we talk about the economy. The policies are working, but the way the perception is not, and that's got to change.
I don't know if the policies are working, but I think, again, if you look at what's happened, Joe Biden has ended Pax Americana from peacetime at the end of World War II to present. We're now staring down the barrel of war in Gaza, war in Ukraine, the potential conflict in the South China Sea. So that's what I think Republicans should be focusing on. These issues have not worked. These policies have not worked, and America is on decline on the Democrats'
I think the takeaway is all politics is national.
There you go. All right. Joe and David, thank you both for joining us live.
Great to be with you.